UCLA is a university with unlimited possibilities for students that desire world-class academics and research, unmatched diversity, incredible cultural and social opportunities, successful alumni and career networking, first-class campus facilities, plus America's top intercollegiate sports teams. Located in Westwood, just a few miles from the Pacific Ocean, UCLA's 1 square mile campus is surrounded by famous cities such as Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, and Santa Monica.
Welcome to UCLA Bruin Talk. I'm Ralph Irvin alongside Javrina Sefrai. Coming up on today's show, we're going to hit the diamonds as we talk UCLA baseball and UCLA softball.
UCLA is having a lot of exciting events. Let's take a look.
John Savage is in his 6th season as the head coach of the UCLA baseball team. He has led the Bruins to top 3 finishes in the Pac-10 each of the last 4 years and the second best overall record in the Pac-10 over those 4 seasons. And he's the only coach in UCLA baseball history to take the Bruins into the postseason 3 consecutive years. Coach, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As you get set to head into camp and getting ready for the 2010 season, how do you feel about the team this year?
We're excited. I mean, it's a ton of energy. We have a young team. We think we have the best pitching in the country. We're excited about our young position players, our outfielders. We brought in 4 young outfielders that can really run. They're all left-handed. We have some experience in the infield with Nico Gallego and Tyler Ramatula and certainly Justin Uribe and Brett Krill. So we're excited about this team.
Your last 5 recruiting classes received top 20 ratings. How exciting is that for you to have these guys compete on your team?
Well, it's nice, and it's nice to be able to hold on to them. With the Major League Draft, it's always a challenge to get the best guys that are going to go to school, and they rate them after they get to school. So it's really an honor for our coaching staff for how hard they worked in terms of getting the players on campus, and then them showing up and then performing as Bruins.
Well, I would imagine that that's got to be something that's hard for not just you but for your entire staff, is not only identifying talent but identifying enough guys that will then end up deciding to go to college.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be in that 80 to 90% every year. If we get 10 guys, we want to be able to hold on to 8 or 9 of them, because we lost 3 this year. We had 12 players. We lost 3. A second, a third, and a 4th rounder that signed for substantial money, and so we deal with the Major League Baseball draft every single season, and you're right, it's a challenge, and no one really has the crystal ball, but we have to see who values education, who values playing in the Pac-10, and values in terms of getting the college experience.
When you see young players, do you start immediately trying to look for potential and getting excited about the thought of them being in the UCLA uniform?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's getting earlier and earlier. The process is beginning. I mean, the freshmen and sophomores are being on campus, and we have to really look for the future. We got to look at rosters, and with the 11.7 in terms of what we have in terms of scholarships, over 35 players, it's almost like a salary cap, really, because you're looking at each year. Some leaving, some going, and some might be signing, and so you really have to have the future rosters in front of you and really plan out.
How do you coach pitchers to deliver an effective pitch?
Well, that's a good question. We try to just help build them a foundation. mechanically, mentally, physically is really the three aspects we really hit upon. We recruit the best guy we can get first. We don't change our guys. We try to bring them in. We like to see what they have, but we recruit them because they look mechanically sound. We've obviously talked to coaches and that have coached them in terms of their mental game. So we prepare them every single day in terms of a throwing program, mechanic works, bullpen work. We condition them like pitchers, and it's just it takes a while to build that confidence and that foundation for a pitcher. But the way to get to Omaha to win Omaha is on the mound. So we know it's critically important to our program.
Well, and a lot of people watch baseball, a lot of people like baseball, but they don't realize that just a small subtlety in terms of a player's mechanics can mean the difference between him being a successful pitcher and having a severe injury that can limit his ability to even play.
We do a lot of video work. We do a lot of mental work. Mental right now is a big part of the pitching side of the game. They have to be mentally tough. They have to be able to pitch out of problems. They have to be able to deal with a lot of uncontrollable variables, we call them. So it's a lot of things that combine what allows a pitcher to be successful on a Division I level and then certainly on the pro level. But I think we've done a real good job of developing our pitchers that they can compete at the Pac-10 level. We've had many go on and do very well at the professional level. And so we coach them like collegians, but we really we train them like professionals. And when they get to professional baseball, they're prepared.
One of the things that you've had success with the last 4 years is you've had a 100 strikeout pitcher. That's got to be good feedback for you that you know that you're doing the right things, and then you can continue in teaching younger players.
Well, it's really an attribute to their character and their tools. I mean, they all have good arms, and you have to have a swing and miss pitch at the college level, and that's very important because if you don't have that, there's a lot of contact, and you have to be able to strike guys out at the college level, and that's where velocity or a good breaking ball or a good changeup comes into play. And we've had a lot of guys that can really pitch, and that allows us to get those strikeouts.
Coach, you mentioned tools. When scouts come to look at these teams, what tools do you think, or what tool in specific do you find that is the most important?
Well, they talk about the 5 tools when you talk about a baseball player. You talk about throw, field, hit, run, and power on the position side. And then on the pitching side, they always look at the velocity. They look at the secondary pitches, the quality of the breaking ball, the quality of the changeup, the projection of the body, what does the delivery look like. So position players are obviously looked at quite differently than pitchers, but we look at them just like scouts do, in terms of what are they going to become in 2 or 3 years. It's great to have freshmen that are immediate impact players, but sometimes you have to wait a little bit, and you bring in a young freshman and they won't develop until their sophomore year. And but with baseball, the real good ones, they're draft eligible after 3 years. So you have to really develop them fast, and because you're going to have them for 3 years, but you want them to be contributors right away.
Well, you know that you're going to have a pretty young team this spring. How does that change what you do as a coach?
Well, I think it's going to be our best team, and I feel pretty confident about that. I mean, the chemistry on this team I've never seen as good as since I've been here. We've had some good teams. We've been very close to Omaha. We've been very close to getting there, and I really believe that this team has the chemistry, has the combination of older player and younger player, and they seem to be on the same page, and they're very talented, and we have a lot of different combinations offensively. Much more left-handed this year. I think we have 12 left-handed bats right now out of the 20 position players, where last year we had 4, and we have most of our pitching back. So we have a good combination of good young players, but you're never going to hear me say, hey, this is just a young team, and we're not going to wait till next year. I mean, this is the year that we feel that we could get there and then maintain that for the years to come.
Well, with having the successful recruiting classes and having the great younger players come in, one thing that does is it keeps your older players from getting complacent, that's for sure.
Right, you're absolutely right. It's all about competition. It's about depth, and we feel like we have 2 catchers, 2 third basemen, 2 shortstops, several outfielders. Pitching is very competitive in our program, and so without question that builds a program and builds a foundation of a team, and it makes guys better. And when guys want to compete in practice, in drills, in the weight room, in conditioning, I mean the whole thing, you're just going to have a better atmosphere, and then the games are just going to be fun. and you can just go out and play somebody different in the other dugout, which, you know, they welcome that challenge.
How strong is the Pac-10 going to be this year, and where does UCLA fit?
Well, the Pac-10 is always very good. I mean, the Pac-10, I think, is the best baseball conference in the country. You're talking about, you know, the most national championships of any conference in the country. You're talking about the most players drafted every single season out of the Pac-10. So, I mean, you're looking at an Oregon State who's very, very good this year, a Stanford who's going to be good, Arizona State who's won the league the last 3 years. So, with the addition of Oregon, and from top to bottom, the all 10 teams are very competitive. We hope to be right there in the mix. We want to win the Pac-10. That's one of our goals. We've finished third. We've been, you know, the second most successful program in the conference the last 4 years, but ultimately you want to get to Omaha and win a national championship, and that's what we want to do, and we feel that we're going to be in the upper echelon of this year's conference.
This past season, you added the Jack and Rodine Gifford hitting facility to your facilities there at Jackie Robinson Stadium. But even calling it a hitting facility is selling it short, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if anybody that's been in it, it's an unbelievable training facility. We have infield play in there. We have conditioning in there. We have pitchers work out in there in terms of throwing. We do a bunch of, you know, obviously hitting mechanics in there. We can have the entire team in there on a rain day. You know, we don't beat up our field in terms of some pitchers fielding practice, so we move in there. And I just can't say enough about that facility. Jack and Rodine and did an unbelievable job of building that facility. They put it up in about 30 days. It was remarkable, and we feel it's the best training facility in the country. And our players and our program are very thankful to Jack and Rodine, and certainly appreciate every time we're in it.
So with this new facility, do you see a difference in the growth of the team from last year?
Absolutely. I mean, our guys are living in there. You know, I mean, they but they you know, they go in there and hit on their own. They go in there certainly with the coaching staff. We can get so many more swings in. Our guys are getting probably 4 times the swings in than they used to with their old hitting facility. So you talk about repetition, which is the game of baseball, and repeating your delivery, repeating your swing. Right. We just, the volume of swings are just gone, you know, tremendously much higher.
Now the team opens the season January 19th at Jackie Robinson Stadium.
February 19th.
February 19th, excuse me.
Yeah.
What can fans expect out?
Well, I think you're going to see tremendous pitching and tremendous defense, number one, and that's how you really win games. I think we're going to see as good as 2 young pitchers in the country with Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer, 2 USA members, 2 first-rounders. You're talking about 2 potential major league starters. You know, that starts with that, and then I think we're going to have an exciting team offensively. We're going to be athletic. We're young. We're left-handed. We're very excited. I mean, people talk about our pitching, but our team is so much more than just our pitching.
Well, and people who haven't ever been out to JRS, I mean, it's quite a baseball experience that's surprising in the city of LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful facility. We'd love to have more support from the students. The community is starting to, I think, to really back us. We almost drew 1,000 a game last year, and so we are drawing well. We're bringing in very good opponents, non-league opponents. We play Tuesday nights, Friday nights, and then Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us.
My pleasure. So thank you.
I want to thank UCLA baseball coach John Savage for joining us here on UCLA Bruin Talk. Coming up, we're staying on the diamonds as we talk UCLA softball. It's all ahead right here on UCLA Bruin Talk.
After these public service announcements.
A trophy can be made just about anywhere. But there's one place where champions are made. UCLA, champions meet here.
Welcome back to UCLA Bruin Talk. Coming up, we're going to talk UCLA softball. But first, Javrina has our Athlete of the Week.
This week, we honor Chay Lapin of men's water polo as our Student Athlete of the Week. In a recent victory for the MPSF tournament title, he posted 27 total stops, helping the team to guarantee an NCAA tournament berth. In another recent match with crosstown rival USC, he ranked 13 saves. His efforts in this game set a new school record for most career saves, which was previously held by Coach Brandon Brooks with 700 stops. Earlier in the month, he received his third career MPSF Player of the Week award for registering a career-high 21 stops in a single game against Long Beach State. The one-game save record was also the highest of any MPSF player this season. Congratulations, Chay, and good luck to the rest of the team. If you would like additional information about UCLA athletics, you can visit us on the web at www.uclabruins.com.
Gina Vecchione is in her 11th season as a member of the UCLA women's softball coaching staff. She also is a member, or was a member, of UCLA's first NCAA championship team, and she serves as the first base coach, hitting instructor, as well as outfielders coach. Oh, and by the way, her number 2 is now one of 4 numbers retired by the UCLA softball program. Kaila Shull is a catcher and outfielder, a senior from Lodi, California. She's a career 300 hitter here at UCLA, and last season had a .683 slugging percentage. She was first team All Pac-10. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Team went 45-11 last year.
Yes.
What do you think about this season coming up?
Well, we're excited. We look forward to the challenges, and our conference, the Pac-10 conference, is the toughest conference in the nation. We prove it year in and year out. And yeah, we're excited. We've got some work to do, and we're on a mission, and we're focused and locked on and ready to go through the season.
Yeah, definitely.
How tough is it to compete weekly in the Pac-10, Coach?
Like I said, it's the toughest conference in the country. So every weekend is it's like a World Series. It's like a postseason game. Every single game, every team in our conference is legit like that and is nationally ranked and can compete for a national title. And so it prepares us. It prepares us for the end, no doubt. We see the best of the best pitching, and we see the best of the best competition.
Now, last season, the team did not advance to the Women's College World Series, losing at the round before that. I assume that that's kind of been the driving force between everything, basically, and everything you've done since last spring.
Yeah, definitely. There's a huge sense of unfinished business for all those returners, and even for the freshmen. I know a lot of them have voiced, just from being able to watch and see and have that connection already with the Bruin family and everything. Everyone's ready to go for this year and go back and get to Oklahoma City.
And I guess the coaching staff has kind of been reminding players every time they see them ever since that point as well.
Well, first of all, I don't think that we have to remind them, those returners. It's in there, but that's not really what drives us. I mean, for us, it's we focus on the process. It's a big enough deal wearing the 4 letters across your chest and coming to UCLA, our storied history program, you know, in itself. It's a lot of pressure on the team, the players that come here, that itself. So we don't really talk about the result. It's not based on the result. If we focused on the result, oh my gosh, it would drive us crazy. And, you know, we focus on the process and getting 1% better. And if we take care of the process, then we feel like we'll be in a good position to be successful at the end.
Kaila, you're well known for hitting. How do you mentally prepare?
Actually, it's something I've learned since being in college, working with different psychologists and the coaching staff with Puppy, with Lisa, Coach I, learning just different techniques and different approaches, little things that you can pick up on to help you when you're going into your at-bats. So it's not so much information you're trying to deal with, and just taking it, learning to take one pitch at a time instead of like a whole big game, just one pitch at a time. So. Now,
is it something, I mean, you're lucky here at UCLA. I think you've got a pretty decent catcher, mentor in Kelly Inouye Perez, who is exceptional as a player while at UCLA. And at the same time, you have other coaches that are great hitting technicians. So you have expertise at every level. Is it easy to get that information, or sometimes does it feel like you get overloaded with info?
No, I think it's easy. I think it's a combination of learning personalities. At first, I know working with Lisa, there was times where it was like, whoa, slow down. But she was able to adapt, and for me, I'm very much a question person, so I'll slow her down and say, I don't understand, or whatever, to make sure that nothing gets missed or skipped over. So,
Coach, what are the team's goals this year?
The team goals this year are win the Pac-10 as far as and finish the job at the end. We really don't like to talk about the national championships in Oklahoma City. We don't really say those words in our bubble. It's not, like I said, we focus on that process. But definitely, without a doubt, when you come here and you put on that uniform, UCLA softball, you're here to win a national championship. I mean, and it's a given that's what drives us.
And I know that in your years as a part of the UCLA softball program, you've seen it grow from being a small niche sport to being a powerhouse.
Yes, it's. I mean, we've come so far in our sport, and to have it be an Olympic sport for those, 4 Olympics, and I won't even get into that. but yeah, and to it's come so far with the youth, starting from the youth programs, and our in particular UCLA softball. I mean, we're lucky. UCLA recruits the best of the best student athletes, and we're lucky to get the cream of the crop here, like Kaila, and now I can't believe she's a senior. I remember yesterday when we were recruiting her. So it's about the athletes. We definitely get the talent in. We believe we have the most talent in the country on this team, this current 2010 team.
Now, how exciting is it for you, though, to see the same field literally grow like a tree? I mean, it's grown from a field to a stadium.
I was just, the other day, I was just showing a picture. I have a picture, there's a picture in the locker room of myself in left field, playing left field, and the scoreboard is about the size of that, and and it's in play. It was in left center field, and like you could run into the scoreboard any time going back on a ball, and there weren't dugouts, they were benches in front of the, behind the fence, and Coach Backus and Coach Enquist sat in beach chairs, and it's come a long way. We have lights. We're going to have our Pac-10 home games are going to be at night this year for the first time. 7 p.m. on Friday nights, and Saturday at 6 p.m., and then Sunday afternoon game at noon. So, it's come a long way, definitely. Our clubhouse, second to none in the country. I mean, it's just beautiful in there. The kids can come up. They have a big living room, we have a big living room type, big couch and big screen TV, and then they have their locker room, and it's just a home away from home. It's definitely come a long way.
When you mention recruiting, you talk about the growth of the sport of softball. Kayla's not from a small town, but Lodi is not a big city either. And I mean, yet she was, not only recognized by UCLA, but had been recognized nationally as being a really darn good recruit. It just shows, again, the overall nature and growth of the scope of the sport.
Yes, I mean, there's talent everywhere, and it's not hard to miss a Kaila Shull, despite where she comes from. When you go to those tournaments and you sit there and recruit, and you see that sweet swing, hello, who is that? Boom, and what kind of grades does she have? She stands out. She stood out to us. And we were, we got right on that.
Kaila, you're a senior now. What are your plans after graduation?
Actually, I just recently got engaged, so I'll be going.
Congratulations! Wow.
I'll be going home to be planning a wedding. So.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's definitely good direction to go once you wrap up with school. I was wondering, one of 4 players to have her number retired. How exciting was that for you when that happened? And does it? I mean, I imagine you see the number hanging, and and every time it kind of gives you a little jump start.
It was wow! It was such a surprise, and I first have to say I was just lucky to be able to play under Coach Backus and Coach Enquist, and be able to be at UCLA and play with a lot of great teammates. And that's what it was really. That's what it's about to me. When I look up and I see that number 2 up there, I think about Dot Richardson, and I think about all those Debbie Doom, Tracy Compton, all the players that I played with, Sheila Cornell, and that's to me what it represents. I was lucky to be surrounded and be a part of that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Dot Richardson. I know you're playing a tournament in Claremont, Florida, which is where she's based these days. It takes me to this point. You're playing in 4 major tournaments this year to start the year.
Yeah, we're excited. We opened up the season in Florida. Throughout the history of our program, we've recruited all over the country. So when we get those kids that are far from home, we like to at least one time during their career, their 4 years, to go back and play so that their families and friends and everybody that they're representing can get to see them play in person in a UCLA uniform. So we're going back to Florida for Gina DeSalvatore, our junior from Florida. We're going back. In the past, we've had another Floridian, Claire Sua, and we've gone back to play in a tournament there so all her family could see. So we like to do that. So we're lucky, administration approved it, and we're going to Florida to homecoming for Gianna and the Bruins.
And Kaila, you've wanted to be a Bruin since you were 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What prompted that decision on your part?
The tradition of a program and being able to see on TV, that was all you saw, and it was like, oh my gosh, and just you could tell there was something different about the team, even in just how they played and the chemistry that they had and everything. And then coming on the visit was unlike any other school that I had ever gone to visit, and I knew, it was always a dream. I wanted to be here, but then coming, it was like instant. I knew. So,
with all the traveling that your coach had mentioned and the tournaments that you're going to be playing in this early season, how do you balance schoolwork, personal life, and softball?
Very carefully. The coaches definitely help us out on the road with making sure we've got study hall hours and stuff. We get our academics in, and actually huge on academics. That is one thing I can say for our team, which is it's good because otherwise it'd be really easy to let that slide. And then you've got softball during the week to help plan and prepare, and then you just go for the weekend. And we have Mondays off, so that's kind of your personal day. We can do whatever we need to do and get ready to go at it again. So.
And Coach, since graduating from UCLA, you've been involved in softball in one way or another all the way up until now. Is it easy to pass on that passion for the sport to your players, and do you sometimes find yourself surprised that you even still have it more than some of your current players?
Oh, it's very easy. I just love, first of all, I love UCLA. And it's home for me. I'm from New York, but this is my home. This is home for me, and I just love what UCLA represents: the tradition, the excellence, and the best of both. When we recruit the best of academics and the best of athletics, if you want to be the best of both in both, come here. This is the place. And to me, it's like it's the best place on earth. So it's easy. It's easy, and I love the sport. I love the sport, and I love seeing these kids get better every day, and I love it even when they struggle. That's the fun part as a coach, to see them struggle and how they adjust and how they get out of that. That's exciting for me.
Well, Coach, Kaila, thank you both for joining us.
Thank
Thanks for having us.
I want to thank Gina Vecchione and Kaila Shull for joining us here for UCLA Bruin Talk. Also want to thank Coach John Savage in our first segment for joining us, and thank you for joining us as well. For Javrina Sefrai, I'm Ralph Irvin. This has been UCLA Bruin Talk, your inside look into UCLA athletics.